Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 19 of Trip Tales, where we are going to be talking all about the ins and outs and everything you need to know about the Gaylord Opryland Resort in Nashville, Tennessee. But first, I'm sure very few of you noticed, but an episode did not come out this past Monday because, to be honest, life and summer and travel and one very sick kiddo caught up with me. As a mom of 3 kids, ages 6 to 12, my time is definitely not my own over the summer. And on top of that, my poor oldest caught walking pneumonia and was sick as a dog for 12 straight days. I felt so bad for her, and I was definitely the on-call nurse as well. Apparently, there's an uptick of walking pneumonia all over the country, so just keep an eye out for that. But I'm back and releasing this episode and catching back up. I have to thank my buymeacoffee.com supporter last week, Rachel Stovall. Rachel was our travel agent for our St. Lucia trip, which I talk all about in episode 8. Definitely one of the most romantic and beautiful resorts I've ever been to, Sugar Beach in St. Lucia. And she is a wealth of knowledge on couples trips and family trips around the world. She was super sweet to buy me 3 coffees on my support page, buymeacoffee.com. If you ever need help planning a trip, you can find her by searching for Rachel Stovall with Haven Escape Travel. And if you're loving the Trip Tales podcast, there is a link in the show notes to my buymeacoffee.com page to show your support for the podcast. Okay, this episode is a long time coming because my family and I have visited Opryland Hotel more times than I can count at this point. We have stayed several times for a fun family vacation and probably dozens of times at this point for dance competitions and other conferences and events that take place in Nashville. Opryland Hotel is a great home base for a family trip to Nashville because there is so much to do in the hotel without ever having to leave. And it's only 15 minutes away from some of Nashville's most kid-friendly spots. We always have a super fun time at Opryland, so I want to share everything you need to know if you are considering a staycation or a vacation here, because over the years, we have accumulated quite a bit of tips and tricks. One of the great things about Opryland Hotel is that it's super close to the Nashville airport. So whether you book a rental car or grab an Uber, Opryland Hotel is just 12 minutes from the Nashville airport. Isn't that great? First, let's talk about booking a room. If you can swing it, I highly recommend booking an atrium view room. Opryland Hotel has 4 distinct atriums, and 3 of these atriums offer fun views overlooking this lavish hotel. I'm going to explain the difference between the 3 atriums and the views, so listen up. Cascades is the first atrium you encounter after entering the hotel from the main entrance and visiting the check-in desks. Cascades is known for its 2 cascading waterfalls, ponds with jumping water features, and lots of lush greenery. We most recently stayed in Cascades, and while I enjoyed looking at the waterfalls from my balcony, it is quite a loud rushing water sound constantly, so having a conversation on the balcony is not necessarily enjoyable. After a few minutes on our balconies, we all wanted to go back in our room and shut the door. It does act as a natural sound machine, which is kind of nice at night. And I'm not saying I would never stay in the Cascades area again. I really loved the views of the waterfalls. The noise level is just something that everyone in my family, from the 6-year-old all the way up to me and my husband, mentioned multiple times. The next atrium you encounter is Garden Conservatory. I really love Garden Conservatory because it is a pretty central location in the hotel. It has a lot of winding paths with ponds and trickling water features, tons of lush greenery, and a huge, beautiful floral-covered gazebo. Also, the ceiling is flanked with twinkly lights that hang down, which is quite magical at night. This atrium also has some great restaurants, including Ravello, the Italian restaurant, and Solario Cantina, the Mexican restaurant, and a popular gelato spot that my family always manages to hit up. We've stayed in Garden Conservatory before, and I remember really loving the spectacular, peaceful evenings on the balcony, and I would love to stay in this atrium again. The final atrium that you can stay in is called Delta. Delta has a lot going on, which is really fun for families with young kids. When you stay in a Delta atrium view room, it almost looks like you are looking out over a little city coming to life. There is the Delta Island, which has shopping and food spots like a burger and pizza joint, a grab and go spot with snacks and sandwiches and Starbucks, a toy shop. This is also where the Delta Riverboat cruise operates from. So if you're thinking about taking the Delta Riverboat ride, this is the atrium you might want to be in. There are also 2 nightly water shows at the Delta Fountain that you can enjoy at 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. It's fun to watch these shows from your balcony as well. Delta isn't as loud as Cascades, but there is a lot going on. It kind of feels like you are watching the hustle and bustle of a small city come to life from your balcony each morning and settle back down from your balcony each evening. You really can't go wrong with an atrium view room. So you could just book one and see which atrium you get, or you could book one and then you could call the hotel and ask them to put you in a specific atrium. Okay, let's talk about the price. Opryland Hotel can be quite pricey, often hovering around $400 to $500 a night, but there are a handful of ways to get discounts. Opryland Hotel has a robust offers page that I'm going to link in the show notes. This is where you can bundle your room stay with the Soundwaves Waterpark ticket price, which we will talk more about in a minute, but you do have to pay for a ticket to Soundwaves Waterpark. It does not come included in your regular stay. And you can get a bit of a discount by bundling your room with the Soundwaves ticket. There are also discounts and offers for teachers, first responders, military, AAA, and Tennessee residents. Local residents can get up to 40% off rooms and a Soundwaves pass. Check out the offers page first when you are deciding about booking this hotel. Additionally, you can use Marriott points to book a room at this resort. I recently started going down the points and miles rabbit hole, and it is quite the deep, dark rabbit hole, but I'm trying to learn as much as I can so that I can share helpful information here so you don't have to go down such a long research path. One thing I will share is that almost all points and miles experts agree that the best credit card to get started in the points and miles game, if you're a beginner, is the Chase Sapphire Preferred Credit Card. I learned about this about a year ago when my husband and I decided to get started in the points and miles game. I do have a link for an introductory offer in the show notes, which if you sign up with my link and spend $4,000 in the first 3 months from opening your credit card, you will get 60,000 bonus points. This all can sound a bit intimidating and hard, but when you think about your monthly expenses, you can probably hit that pretty quickly. Once you do hit that and get your 60,000 bonus points, you're able to transfer your points out directly to Marriott or to other hotel chains and airlines, even Southwest, or you can book travel through the Chase Travel Portal. So this is another way to get an Opryland hotel much cheaper or even free. I like the Chase Sapphire Preferred because of all the points earning cards. It has a low yearly fee of $95. A lot of the other premium points earning cards have yearly fees of up to $695, which I know sounds crazy. And it has multiplied points in areas that we spend heavily in. With this credit card, you earn 5 times points on travel purchase through the Chase Travel Portal. So this is what I was talking about before. If you went to the Chase Travel Portal and booked a hotel through that, you earn 3 times points on dining, 3 times points on online grocery purchases. Hello, Instacart. 3 times points on select streaming services, and 2 times points on other travel booked outside of the Chase Travel Portal. So for my family, this credit card is perfect. With this credit card, we've been able to pay for flights for our entire family to go to Orlando. And most recently, my husband and I booked 2 nights at the glamorous Omni Grove Park Inn in Asheville, North Carolina, from the points we earned on this card. So again, if you're thinking about getting started, there is a link in the show notes for that 60,000 bonus points introductory offer if you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. And then voila, your points will appear and you'll be ready to use as you please. Okay, so you've decided to stay at Opryland Hotel with your family. You've booked your room. Now let's talk about parking. You can either pull straight up to the main entrance of the hotel by following the valet parking signs. This is obviously the easiest way to get in and out of the hotel. However, it costs $50 a night to valet your car. So be prepared for that if you want the ease of valet. You can also unload your stuff at the front main entrance and tell them you want to self-park. Self-parking is $35 a night, so that is another option. But I have a tip for free parking if you're willing to walk just a little ways. Right next to Opryland Hotel is a huge mall called Opry Mills. At the back of Opry Mills Mall is a Regal Cinema and a Dave& Buster's. If you map yourself to the Regal Cinemas or Dave & Buster's at Opry Mills Mall, you will see a massive parking lot there. The very back of this parking lot is right next to Opryland Hotel. It's specifically right next to the Opryland Hotel Event Center. This is a long rectangular building that hosts a lot of dance competitions that I've been to and their seasonal Christmas exhibit. There is a ton of free parking back here and nobody uses the back of this parking lot. So you can park here for free, walk past the Opryland Event Center, and you'll see a little canopied walkway that takes you all the way to the hotel. You can enter through the back of the hotel through some double doors, and you'll be in the Delta Atrium. From there, you can walk in any direction to find your room. I've done this a million times, and it's an easy walk to park for free. But it is a little ways, so I wouldn't haul too much luggage with you. However, if each kid was pulling a suitcase and you had a backpack, it would not be too far of a walk. If you had a whole trolley worth of stuff, I would definitely unload at the front of the hotel. Okay, once you're situated in the hotel, you're going to need to find food throughout your stay. So let's talk a bit about food. Opryland Hotel has always been hit or miss for us in terms of wait times and finding food. Just after the pandemic, it felt like it was almost impossible to find food in Opryland Hotel, and every restaurant always had a wait. But I'm happy to say that we recently stayed this past 4th of July weekend, and we never had to wait for a restaurant once. And this was 4th of July weekend. For breakfast, if you're feeling like a fun hotel splurge, Cascades Restaurant has the best breakfast. They have a typical hotel breakfast buffet. It's $35 a person. You can get everything you can imagine from eggs, bacon, potatoes, donuts, croissants, and you're right there in that beautiful Cascades atrium with the waterfalls going. We've done it a handful of times and it definitely always feels worthwhile. In addition, there is a coffee shop counter in the Cascades atrium just by the check-in desks, and also another one in the Delta Island up in the Delta Island restaurants and shops. Both of these have muffins, breakfast sandwiches, coffees, and even Starbucks options. You can also order breakfast on the room service app. There will be a QR code in your room, and we've done this many times, and it's not too crazy expensive. Note, if you order the eggs, bacon, potatoes, and toast plate, it can almost feed a family of 4. I'm not exaggerating. My son just recently ordered that on our last trip, and 4 of us ate from this bowl, and we still ended up having to throw some of it away. It's $19, but it can feed a lot of people. For lunch, we are typically out and about doing something like over at Soundwaves Waterpark. Soundwaves has some of the best food in the hotel, in my opinion. So if you find yourself over there around lunchtime or dinner time, definitely hit up Decibels, which is the eatery in the Soundwaves Waterpark. The last time we were there, I got butterflied crispy shrimp with a delicious dipping sauce. My husband got a smash burger and fries. My kids got pizza and one got a turkey sandwich. So Decibels is probably our favorite place to eat lunch. However, the other options are in the Delta Island area. There they have Stacks, which is a grab and go burger spot. They have an Italian pizza place where you can buy pizza by the slice or an entire pizza to feed your family. We'll often grab an entire pizza and go sit by the water fountain in the Delta Atrium. You can watch the water fountain dance around while you're eating your pizza. And they also have the Delta Marketplace Grab and Go, which has sandwiches and salads and snacks. And then for dinner, you have a lot of choices. Some of our favorites include going back to the Cascades main restaurant, which has a delicious all-American menu, but also the ability to order from the Wasabi Sushi Bar. So this last time that we just went, my husband and I split a few sushi rolls. My oldest daughter got a cucumber sushi roll, which she's currently really into, and the other kids got a burger and mac and cheese. The Cascades restaurant seems to always win for us, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Hey guys, I wanted to quickly share about a cool way you can support the show. Travel content creating and podcasting is so fun. But as you travel lovers know, traveling can get expensive. While I may receive trades from time to time, the flights, the behind the scenes hours filming, editing, recording, and sharing are often unseen and unpaid. There is this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was created specifically as a way to support creators like me. Buying Me a Coffee is a quick and simple way to show your support for the Trip Tales podcast. And Lord knows this busy Mama 3 could use a coffee to keep me recording and sharing, and maybe help with the grocery bill as well. I'll also give a special shout out by name to anyone who buys me a coffee in the following week's episode. So if you love Trip Tales, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can get there by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves. Thank you for considering supporting the show. We also love the Italian spot Ravello. This feels kind of fancy and like you're eating outdoors in Italy. The last time we were there, we got incredible food. The kids all got penne Alfredo. I got cacio pepe with shrimp. My husband got a mushroom pizza. It was all delicious, and we decided it's hands down one of our favorite Opryland Hotel dinners. Another place we frequent for lunch and dinner is Solario Cantina. This is a great sit-down Mexican restaurant in Garden Conservatory, and I've had delicious street tacos here. They have surprisingly good guacamole and margaritas. Kids love the quesadillas and rice, and they have some delicious salads with carne asada steak on top. And then there are even more places like Old Hickory Steakhouse, which is a high-end, delicious steakhouse, a sports bar called Fuse, or Jack Daniel's Barbecue. Basically, you will not go hungry, and there is plenty of food to find. If you're willing to walk across the parking lot I was talking about over toward Opry Mills Mall, there's even more fun restaurants like Paula Deen's Country Kitchen, Rainforest Cafe, Johnny Rockets, and others. Okay, let's talk about the free things you can do in Opryland Hotel. Just walking through all of the atriums is quite enjoyable. There's also a fitness center you can access, and there is a free indoor and outdoor pool. A lot of people are so focused on the Soundwaves Waterpark right now that they forget that Opryland Hotel has a great indoor and outdoor pool. The best way to find this is to go to the spa and go past the spa down a staircase, and you will find the indoor pool and the outdoor pool. These are free for hotel guests to use. There are also 2 nightly water shows in the Delta Atrium. There's this huge fountain that shoots tons of water from the ground at different heights, kind of like a dancing water show, and it goes all day. So if you're in that area, definitely head over and check it out. But at 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., there are dedicated shows with music and lights to the dancing fountains. They're quite enjoyable, so it's worthwhile to make your way over there and sit on the circular cement seating around this fountain. Lastly, there are 2 arcades in Opryland Hotel. One is in the Cascades atrium, and the other one is near Soundwaves. The one near Soundwaves is new and was built out with the Soundwaves Waterpark, but you can get to it without having a Soundwaves wristband. So just make your way towards Soundwaves, and then instead of going through the entry gates with your wristband, you go down a set of stairs into what is called the basement, bass as in BASS, because Soundwaves is all about music and Nashville. So you go to the basement arcade, and you will see multiple rooms with VR. There's a climbing wall, tons of games. And while this isn't technically free, because all of us know how much an arcade costs us on vacation, it is free to access and check out. Now let's talk about the paid things. Soundwaves Waterpark is definitely the highlight of this hotel. I highly recommend going to it regardless of what time of year you visit, because half of it is indoors and half of it is outdoors. In the indoors area, there are quite a few awesome water slides. There are 2 little kids splash pad areas. There are 2 lazy rivers. One is a classic lazy river, and one we call the crazy river because it is super fast and kids absolutely love flying around the crazy river. I think last time we were there, my son went around this crazy river at least 150 times. We seriously thought he was going to get sick. Indoors, they also have one of those flow rider surfing simulators. There's an area to play basketball. There are little climbing walls where the kids can climb up and fall off into the water. And there's even a little obstacle course with big floating lily pads that's fun for the kids to jump from lily pad to lily pad. There's also a great adults only area indoors that is up a set of stairs overlooking the rest of the water park. There's an exclusive adults only bar in this area that is never busy. So if you need a drink, you can pop up there at any time as long as you're over 21. If you want to get a beverage or just relax for a minute in the infinity pool and look out over Soundwaves. So even if you went in December or January, you're going to get all those things by purchasing a Soundwaves ticket. And then if it's warm weather, you also have the outdoors area, which has a massive wave pool, which plays fun rock music and the music videos on a massive LED screen that just makes the wave pool so much cooler and have such a Nashville vibe. There's also another splash pad and water playground for little kids outside. There's a handful of more water slides outside. So in my opinion, it's not the biggest water park I've ever been to, but I feel like sometimes water parks can just be way too big. They're sprawling and hot, and you're running around looking for your kids in this massive, bright, but dingy, hot water park. And this is not that. Soundwaves is more tastefully done. It feels modern and chic. It is mostly whites and blues with a lot of natural plant walls and beautiful landscaping. It's just a really beautiful water park. And while it's not completely massive, there is still plenty to do for babies to adults to keep busy there for an entire day. I should also mention that there are cute modern cabanas for rent indoors and outdoors. Currently, the only way to access Soundwaves is by being an overnight guest, unless you book a party room. So here's the one hack for accessing Soundwaves during the day if you're not an overnight guest. You book a party room, and a party room for the day is $52 to $75 a person, depending on the time of year, which I feel like $50 to $70 for an entire day at one of the coolest water parks, plus all these extras that I'm going to tell you about, isn't too bad. So with the party room, you get your access to Soundwaves wristbands for the entire day. You get 2 self-parking passes that are included in that price. You get 2 hours of your party room access. You get 2 pizzas, and they'll even bring you more if you run out. And you get non-alcoholic beverages. So tons of water bottles and sodas and an attendant for those 2 hours that you're using your party room. So whether it's a birthday party or not, you can go with a group of friends and get the water park for the day, 2 parking passes, lunch for the group, sodas and waters, and a private room to relax in for 2 hours, which is much cheaper than buying a hotel room. So that's the hack for spending the day at Soundwaves without booking a room. And you can get all that information on their website about their party rooms. Okay, the last Soundwaves tip. It's open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. We got there at 11 a.m. and there were almost no chairs left. Tons of them were being saved with towels and people's belongings. Now, we were there Saturday, a 4th of July weekend, so I don't think it's always like this, but I would recommend getting there right when it opens, or at least sending someone from your group down to snag some chairs for your group. I truly feel like Soundwaves is a can't miss at Opryland Hotel. So I would definitely start on that offers page, which I'm linking in the show notes, and look for what bundles you can get to at least get Soundwaves for a day. I think one day is probably plenty of time to enjoy the water park, but if you're there for a long trip, I could see booking it for more than one day just because it's right there in the hotel and it is so fun. Another one of our favorite attractions in Opryland Hotel is the Delta Riverboat ride. Now, at the end of the day, this is kind of a cheesy hotel ride, but my kids love it, and we always end up having such a fun time. This is a ticketed ride, so you do need to go on the Gaylord Opryland Resort website before your visit and purchase tickets. You can also purchase tickets just by walking down to the Delta Riverboat and talking to them there. This boat goes on a leisurely ride through the Delta River atrium, and you can see all the different parts. You go under some bridges. At night, there's some twinkling lights. And when we were most recently there, they had a silent disco version of the Delta boat ride where they handed us all silent disco headphones, where you can change the station between the 3 different types of music, and then your headphones will glow green, red, or blue based on what station you're listening to. So you can look around and kind of see what other people on your boat are listening to, or if your family is listening to the same song as you. So we would often be switching our headphones until someone found a song they loved and started dancing. And we would all switch our headphones to that same channel and go crazy dancing and lip syncing. We were laughing so hard and we had the best time. So I highly recommend doing the silent disco ride if they're doing it when you visit. The silent disco version of the Delta Boat ride was for any ride between 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. while we were staying there. Yes, it's a little pricey for a simple boat ride around a hotel atrium, but it's so memorable. And they do take a picture of you at the end, which of course they try to sell you on some pretty Opryland frame for like $35 or $40. But I actually liked our picture. It was really cute. And so I was like, what is the cheapest way to get this picture? I want just the digital access on my phone. And they were like, fine, $16. And here's a QR code. You can download it right now. And I was like, deal. So I paid the $16. I got my downloaded picture from the Delta Riverboat ride and I was happy. And then seasonally, there are always other activities going on. So the best thing to do is check the website. Sometimes there are special seasonal craft stations. Sometimes the Easter Bunny's there. Sometimes Santa's there. There's typically a scavenger hunt that little kids can do and earn a prize at the end of it. So just check the website and see what's going on and what would be exciting for your family when you're visiting. Speaking of Christmas and Santa, let's talk about Christmas at Opryland. This is one of our favorite times of the year to visit the hotel. It's usually called Opryland's A Country Christmas. In addition to all the other things I've already talked about, they'll have a huge outdoor area, which is actually right by that free parking I talked about at the Opryland Event Center. This event center is where they host their annual ice exhibit. For the Opryland Ice exhibit, they bring in tons of professional ice sculptors and they spend weeks transforming the Opryland Event Center into a magical ice sculpture storyland. It's divided into different rooms and it's truly breathtaking. There are interactive ice exhibits, there are photo ops. We've gone to the Grinch, Elf, and most recently Polar Express for this ice exhibit. And I have to say, Polar Express blew us away. There were these massive ice trains. Tom Hanks was carved out of ice and it literally looked exactly like him. You could sit on ice benches on the trains and take pictures. And always in the very last room, regardless of the theme, is a massive ice slide where you climb up these big ice steps and you can slide down the ice sculptures. Kids and adults can do this. When you get to this exhibit, they will give you a light blue coat, which you will want to wear because it is very cold in this room. You'll also want to make sure you're wearing a hat and gloves, or that your kids at least have a hat and gloves on. We typically wear boots because it is a very cold experience, but it's enjoyable as long as you're bundled up. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing what this year's ice theme is. And if it's Polar Express again, y'all have got to go. Other fun things to do at Opryland's A Country Christmas are ice tubing, ice skating, bumper cars, snowball making, pictures with Santa, gingerbread house making, and the list honestly goes on and on. The main thing to know is that all of these events are ticketed separately. You can go ahead and just buy one platinum or premium pass that gets you into everything to make it easy, but you don't have to because it is pretty expensive. You can also pick and choose the ticketed items that your family would prefer to do. Our favorite things to do at Opryland's A Country Christmas are the ice tubing, the ice skating, although there's typically a pretty long line to get those skates. And my kids and husbands also like the ice bumper cars because it kind of looks like bumper cars on ice, although I don't think it's really ice. I think it's like one of those wax ice floors. However, they always have a good time on that. So whenever we go, we make sure that we get ice tubing, ice skating, ice bumper cars, and then the ice exhibit that you walk through. But I would say some of those other things you don't necessarily have to pay for and do. While Christmas at Opryland is wonderful and the hotel is decorated so beautifully, you have to see the Christmas trees indoors and outdoors at night because it is breathtaking. It is a very popular time to go, so it might be a little more crowded. So pack your patience. And you can only use the indoor area of Soundwaves. So going other times of the year is also wonderful because there's still plenty to do in the hotel and you can access the outdoors area of Soundwaves. Also, like I said at the beginning, this is a great place to make your home base for a family trip to Nashville. You aren't within walking distance to Broadway or any of the downtown Nashville things, but there is so much to do at this hotel that you'll only want to pop out a few times. You are a 15-minute drive from the Nashville Zoo, which is a lovely, well-kept, clean, and beautiful zoo. I was so impressed when I first moved here, and they've only continued to add to it. For example, they have an amazing renovated kids' playground that's one of the biggest kids' playgrounds I've ever seen. They also have some super fun rides like an eagle eye zip line that pulls you way back up over the zoo and you can see the zebras and other animals, and then you go flying down over the zoo. There's a carousel and a little train ride for kids, and lots of great animals like a tiger, bears, giraffes, elephants. So the Nashville Zoo is worth hitting up. You're also just a 15-minute drive from the Adventure Science Center, which is a really nice, fun science center with lots of stuff about space and the human body. My kids have really enjoyed this 3-story museum every time we visited. And then you are also a 15-minute drive from downtown Nashville. If you're trying to visit downtown Nashville with kids, I recommend parking at the complex called Fifth and Broad, Broad as in Broadway. You can literally just put in Fifth and Broad into your phone, and it's this huge outdoor shopping center and restaurant area. They have a large parking garage, which is easy to pull into and find parking and take these big escalators up into the shopping and restaurant area. There is a massive food court with tons of the Nashville staples like Princess Hot Chicken or Hattie B's. Many of the places that are iconic to Nashville have a spot in this food court, so it's an easy way to get to try a lot of great Nashville food in one spot. They even have rosé on tap, if that's of interest to you. And from Fifth and Broad, you are very close to Broadway, where all the honky tonks and all the country music singers' bars are now. Now, if you're on a family vacation, I don't recommend going to Broadway, honestly, anytime after like noon or 1 p.m., because afternoon and evening are wild on Broadway. It almost seems as busy as the Vegas Strip these days. But if you do have kids, a lot of people like to walk Broadway in the morning because a lot of the bars open early for breakfast or brunch or line dancing, and they already start their live music. So you can get a taste of Broadway and show your kids the country music scene, maybe get a bite to eat or a mimosa for mom or dad, and then head back to your car or to Fifth and Broad. This area is also super close to the famous Ryman Auditorium, which is a unique concert hall. The way it's shaped, people say it has the best sound acoustics of any concert hall, making it feel kind of like a spiritual, sacred place for music lovers. All of the seats are even like church pews. It is a very cool spot. And I think that's it. So I end every episode with, if someone out there is considering a trip to Nashville, Tennessee, what is it about the Opryland Hotel that would make you say, just book it? I would say for a memorable family trip to Nashville, this is the place to stay. Your kids will be blown away by all of the gorgeous indoor atriums with the water features and waterfalls and boats going through the atriums, the twinkling lights at night if you get an atrium view room. An atrium view room is the most magical way to do this hotel for sure. There's lots of free stuff to do if you don't want to splurge. However, I truly believe that Soundwaves is a can't miss, and you should do it for at least one day at this hotel. And if you want to explore other areas of Nashville, you're a 15-minute drive from some of the best family-friendly spots. All right, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will continue to try to get this podcast out on Mondays, but summer is just crazy, as many of you know. But I have a lot of amazing vacation destination interviews coming up, so stay tuned. And once school starts again, we will be back on track, releasing this podcast every single Monday. See you next time. That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales.